Ohio minasan, oru wa namae wa Lord Frieza. That's right, Lord Frieza has returned.
Nani?
From the land of the rising sun, you filthy monkey.
Monkey, 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 monkeys, monkeys, monkey, monkeys, monkeys, monkey, monkeys, monkey, monkey.
Reinvigorated, awe-inspired, to claim this universe for my own. And no one is going to stop me, not even the Toon Force wielding Monkey D. Luffy. Listen. Oh my God, yes. You filthy monkeys. I am back.
Monkeys.
From the land of the rising sun. Oh, we're gonna have fun. Oh yeah. Yeah. I am going to abuse this little trash can of Frieza. This will be a prop. Yes, it's gonna be in the background somewhere. I'm gonna get a whole table set full of all these like goodies in the corner. You're gonna be seeing a lot of Frieza. Get ready. Oh, you saying monkeys.
Monkey.
Get ready. Now, there's been a lot of news that's dropped since my vacation started. Japan was amazing. Japan was the best trip I have ever experienced in my life, bar none. That's how good it was. Those 2 weeks, magical. I'm in high spirits. I'm motivated. I'm seeing, honest to God, I'm seeing different outlooks of life now that I thought were impossible, and now they're very possible. Oh yeah, we're gonna be trudging through for a lot of different content across the board. And of course, for the main channel content, we have a lot to talk about. We have a lot to discuss, and your boy's gonna be here with projects, optimism. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling very good because Japan was just, man, I love it. And yes, even you I love it. But let me make sure Frieza's in pose here. Menacingly. Now, there was SBS material that dropped, and we have to discuss this because one of these things pertains to an Uber delivery that I thought was at the time like a 2% chance of happening, like actually being the case.
Flashback.
People are hyped for the DoorDasher Borsalino. They're banking on it to high heaven.
End of flashback.
And it wind up being the case. What?
What the fuck was that?
Okay, not gonna lie to you. Call me off guard. Does it change anything in the grand scheme of things? No. But it is worth talking about because I thought it was not the case. It didn't make much sense given how this character's powers seem to work. But if Oda says, hey, I gotta say, I gotta say aight. Just how you gotta say aight to the sponsor of today's video. This video is brought to you by Surfshark VPN. Phishing attempts, cyber attacks, all the nasty hoo-ha malware and viruses that are out there in the World Wide Web. You need protection in your day-to-day life. Make sure that when you venture to these insane spots on the web, you are secure. And I know, my anime manga faithful, we go to some crazy, gnarly spots on the web. To each their own, but you do need a shield when you venture off into these dangerous parts of the woods. And let Surfshark VPN be that shield. Not only does it have anti-malware, antivirus features, but also it does have IP changing functionalities wherein which wherever you are, no one will know who you are. So Surfshark VPN can clean all that nasty stuff that is gonna try and harm your device, and it doesn't matter which device it is. Whether it's Windows, whether it's Macintosh or Linux, whether it's on your desktop, laptop, phone, iPad, you name it, Surfshark VPN has you covered on all your devices, and it's available in so many different countries across the entire world. And one of the things I do absolutely hate is region gating. And I love how Surfshark VPN can circumnavigate region gating with the region change feature. So there are certain shows, animes, movies that I want to check out that, let's say normally I can't on Netflix, on Hulu, you name it. Well, I can easily change my region, and then voila, I can gain access to that material, to those shows that normally I couldn't gain access to. So if you like what you hear, and you absolutely should, scan this QR code right here, don't be shy, or you can go in the box below to the website surfshark.com/KOL and get 4 extra months off of your purchase of Surfshark VPN. So, lads and ladies, on that note, let us get back to the video content at hand. So, let's dive into the SBS. Much love for Pupice and Otter of the Library of Horror. And yes, if you're wondering, did meet Otter in Japan while I was in Japan. We hooked up, not that way, no diddy, but he hooked us up in the shop in Akihabara, Japan, Tokyo, that has a lot of these really dope vintage shonen magazines from like the late 2000s, 90s, sometimes even in the 80s, man. So much love to Otter from the Library of Horror. That's number 1. Number 2, I do not look at the spoilers of Pupice. I don't even touch that. But other content, I do peep. Now, when it comes to SBS, we first gotta talk about Monkey D. Luffy. Woo! Yes, there's a lot kind of the Admirals for sure. But Luffy is the main character, so Luffy needs his dibs. And we find out that, yo, why do Luffy's clothes grow when he also goes in giant form too? Well, it's because this man's meat, his will of D is so powerful that the clothes must grow to compensate it. You just can't have schlong, wurst, sausages. Back in the day with Kid Goku and Dragon Ball, fair enough, but in the modern day and age, cut that off. Despite Trump's re-election, we're still in a very progressive era compared to the early 90s, people.
Yeah, that's pretty true.
Reader, hello Oda-sensei. In chapter 1055 of volume 103, Luffy used a technique called Gum Gum no Gigant. But how did his clothes and even his sandals got gigantic too? Please tell us. Look here! Listen well here, Yamakun. If Luffy's clothes get ripped off when he gigantifies, his long. Of course, Austin, blur that word. His slong, his baby maker, his Oktoberfest bust is gonna come out. Yamakun? So chill. There were other questions about Luffy stuff and other Oda questionnaire stuff. I'm gonna tackle those in the videos because there is a lot that I missed over this past. There's a lot I missed. There is a lot. And obviously, other content requires focus too, because he's not just dropping content for Luffy, but also the Admirals and even the Vice Admirals. Though they are trash, we do find out more information about the Vice Admirals. And let's roll through that. Vice Admiral Pomsky has the Rako no Mi, or the Otter fruit. He's an otter human. It's actually Rako, not Rocco, but shoutouts to Rocco's modern life. He deals powerful blows with a shell. One of the most fan favorite characters of the arc, Agate Island. A lot of lads, healthy lads, were checking out what was going on with Vice Admiral Dahl, one of the few Vice Admirals that folks actually cared about, even though I'd argue not on the same level as, of course, Lilith and York. Lilith being the top goddess. It is what it is. Big facts, undeniably. However, Dahl has her supporters. According to this information here in SBS, is a martial arts fighter, a Kenpo practitioner of the Soul Rock martial arts. Now, this sounds like it's a version of maybe Rokushiki, 6 powers, but on 1091, we do see her kick a pacifista, with these very long kicks, almost like Bluegilly from the Straw Hat Grand Fleet. And then in chapter 1117, we do see her take out Kashi temporarily with the rock and roll blaster, where we see her harden her hand, then she lays on a bunch of haymakers. In terms of a martial arts style, there's nothing really like unique to it so far. I guess the rock and roll is the key thing here for the Soul Rock. If it is Brook-esque, it's just that affinity for rock and roll music in general, and that is somehow incorporated into her fighting style. Like maybe her punches have a certain tempo to them. We can get that in the anime, but not in the manga version, because in the manga version, how could you actually, let's say, depict tempo for an attack? Not really too sure. Especially given Oda's paneling style, not art style, paneling style, where he likes to nowadays, he likes to just cram in as much as possible into a panel. So it's interesting, and it seems to be like a very unique martial arts style that's not, let's say, affiliated, as far as I know, with any nation or species. Like, let's say something similar to Sanji's Black Leg style or Zeph's Red Leg style, where it's unique for those individuals. Now, let's say the Hashoken from the Kano Kuni boys, like Sai and Danchinja. That is a nation-specific Kenpo. Or let's say Fishman Karate, where obviously it is a giant-based karate. Wrong. It is a fishman-oriented karate for merfolks and fish people. After that, real quick, we have Vice Admiral Tosa, the guy that Brogy just one-shot with the axe, where apparently he can fight with his hands. He has some sort of Shigan technique that's armor haki hardened, and he was gonna do something against somebody, but again, he got negged. Then you have Vice Admiral Urban, who has the Tatsu no Mi. He ate the barrel fruit. He's a cannon human, and top of his head has a cannon, basically. Then, of course, you have Vice Admiral Bluegrass, who ate the Nori no Mi, the ride fruit. So you know she was hella fun back in the day. She's a pilot human. She can turn any object or living being she surpasses in haki. Now, this, you see, this is why people need me.
That's true.
Remember when we talked about before? Hold on. Let me finish, right? She's the sworn elder sister of Great Advisor Suda. Okay, remember I said before about how when it comes to haki, it's able to interact, potentially counter or neg certain powers? Like, for example, with Law and how Law couldn't move Big Mom and Cairo in his room. Guess what? We see very clearly and distinctly that haki can be used to gauge if a power works or not. A strong haki user can completely negate certain abilities of different powers. And even though Oda is not necessarily clear on how much haki someone has, there is no One Piece scouter. There is a Doriki check, but Doriki is about physical power for the most part. So it's akin to, let's say, like the punch meter in Dragon Ball Z, not the scouter, right? So when it comes to haki levels, they do matter for powers being effective. And Vice Admiral Bluegrass is the key example of that. So that's a very important detail, a super important detail, where if someone's haki is just too powerful, she cannot mount said individual. Lovely. After that, we have Vice Admiral Hound. Inu no Mi, dog fruit model Hound. He joined at the same time as Smoker. The one that got neg diff by Frankie, apparently my clone. We have Vice Admiral Red King. His right knuckle blasts forward with the power of the steep engine. So that's the Film Z Zephyr Sensei gauntlet right there. Does it have Kairoseki? Probably not, but it's still pretty cool. And then you have finally Vice Admiral Guillotine. The blade on his head can be thrown as a boomerang, like Captain Boomerang. Now, there are other things that Oda talks about in his SBS that I don't think are really that important. Like, he talks about some of the biology and terminology of the long arms, which I think is like whatever. He explains the heights of the sword members and the ages too. So we have Drake 33, we have Kuchiku is 26, we have Prince Groose is 29, Kobe's 18, Hibari 17, and Helmeppo is 22, and their heights as well, which I don't really care about, honestly. Then you have apparently the fashionista, the fashion advisor for the elders. Does that really matter? In the grand scheme of things, nah. They still got the sauce, and honestly, with Garling in there, they have elevated to a whole new level. But to be fair, if you care about that, okay, fair enough, fine. There's some information about how you have Kujiku and Groose, how they're involved with Drake and company. And Oda says this, and I quote, Kujiku and Groose are juniors, slightly younger than Drake, but they still act as if they were in the same generation. Also, I asked if Groose is actually a prince, but he's not. He's just from a rich family. So he pretends to be royalty, nobility, but in reality, he is not the prince that was promised. He cannot become the Game of Thrones Azor Ahai. He cannot grant knighthood. So if a girl marries him, she's not gonna be princess, she'll be just madam. Which, hey, you know what? Money is money, all right? Wealth is wealth. Fame is fame. Power is power. But you ain't no Disney princess, oof, or Disney prince, oof. But maybe he can fake it till he makes it, maybe one day we'll have to wait and see. After that, we have these pretty cute drawings of Oda drawing a younger Yamato in hybrid form, where we see Yamato in that full-on Zoan form with the Hagoromo scarf around her, so it's still there in full Zoan form, right? That's still strange, not gonna lie to you. And then in hybrid form too, cute, uwu. And then we have my boy Jinbei in his 60s and in his 80s. And honestly, when it comes to the wrong future and the good future, Jinbei looking fire through and through. He's looking fire through and through. Particularly Jinbei, wrong future at the age of 60. Damn. Yo, that is a Jinbei. Death to all humans? Drag them down to the seafloor? Damn.
You're goddamn right.
Yo, we up cause they down. But who is not down in this SBS are the Admirals. Green Bull, Fujitora, and Kizaru. Oh boy. So, the last leg here. Final question of the SBS here. Odachi, gotta chew. Oh my god. Please tell us the former occupations of Fujitora and Ryokyugu before they became Marine Admirals. And honestly, I'll agree with you. Quick disclaimer here. I'm not a really big fan of Oda telling us everything in SBSs. Oda, I feel, is a lot more comfortable nowadays of revealing content in SBSs that honestly will be better suited for the actual manga content itself. But Oda always feels like he has no time to get it done in the manga, which to me is always a strange thing because you have as much time as Shonen Jump will give you, Chur Oda, and honestly, that is indefinitely because they will give him all the time in the world. The man is 90ified. I went to Japan. When I went to the Jump store there, I was seeing a lot of content for other series, but One Piece was indisputably king. Indisputably king. So I just wonder, you say you don't have enough time, but what does it really mean, Oda? Because even you yourself have clearly come to the realization that the time frame that you had to finish the story is long gone. So just have it revealed somewhere on manga panel. Because part of the problem too with the SBS is that a lot of this content is not going to be translated over to anime, which means that if you're an anime only watcher, or let's say even if you're a manga reader but you don't particularly care about extra information for the One Piece story and you just read the manga / watch the anime, then you're never gonna be privy to this unless Oda drops it in manga panel. I digress. All right. Just as they became the ones in charge for the defense of affiliated nations to the world government through this system called World Military Draft, these two were handpicked by the Marines. Ryokyugu Aramaki hails from the South Blue. He was a police officer, like Zoro. Yeah, remember that occupation? Zoro? Green Bull? He was a police officer from the Taya Kingdom and caused a great incident involving a woman and got thrown into prison. His reputation of possessing extraordinary strength reached the government. He got drafted into the Marines and immediately got a special promotion to Admiral. Immediately. So it's not necessarily too clear if, let's say, he had his powers before or after. But he was so strong, government peeped him. Okay, Admiral. Boom, go. Next, Fujitora Isho hails from the West Blue. He incurred losses on a gambling house in the Twin Snake Island, and the place he was working as a bodyguard was bought by the world government with a large sum of money. Isho was a former defense military chief in the Aoi Blue Kingdom that once existed in the Grand Line. The Aoi Kingdom was destroyed because of the war, and he became a significant war criminal. The world government will eventually be made aware of this fact. So the world government is lacking info, details on Fujitora, and many folks have said time and time again that, yo, hold up. Fujitora is probably going to defect. He's probably going to leave the Marines, and he's going to join the Rev. That could happen. This could be part of the reason why, when it comes to his involvement in the destruction of the Aoi, the Blue Kingdom that was once in the Grand Line, but was annihilated because of a war. And he himself, because of these events, in some way is a war criminal. So they let in a war criminal into their system, and they're unaware of that fact. How? I have no idea. You would think they would do an extensive background check on somebody before they became one of the most important figures in military marine history, an admiral. So Fujitora must have some elite Russian hackers working for him to make sure that all of his bad juju was wiped away from the history books. So that for sure is going to matter. And it probably is the reason why Fujitora decided to scar his own face. He decided to blind himself. It's also interesting that when we see him as a kid, he is wearing Ryoma's fit. It's Ryoma's fit. No matter how you slice it, it's Ryoma's fit, man. That's crazy. And he does hail from the West Blue. So I wonder if, let's say for example, just how there was an offshoot of Wano Country Samurai that left Wano Country and went to the East Blue and they made Shimotsuki Village. Is there a similar thing going on, let's say the West Blue? Well, let's say in the West Blue, there were samurai that left Wano Country, they went out to sea, and they established a colony somewhere in the West Blue. So that is information about Fujitora and Green Bull. Again, details I would like to see in the actual canon manga, but for what it's worth, it is worth a lot. Especially when it comes to Fujitora and Fujitora's potential future betrayal for the marine system. And I was betrayed by Ichiro Oda because, oh my goodness, he just revealed who the person was that delivered the food to Monkey D. Luffy during their fight. I'm gonna read this from Oda right here. In chapter 1103, Luffy starts eating a bunch of food, but who answered his plea after he screamed out food? Close to him were Sanji and Frankie. It could have been one of them, though the likes of Kizaru and Santomaru were also there. No one noticed it happening, meaning for no one to have spotted it, it must have been carried out at the speed of light. Okay, I sure don't know who that could be. Speed of light. So obviously Oda's being vague, but he's not really being vague. Where after Kizaru got, after he got freaking White Star gunned and started seeing stars and ducks, Luffy's on the ground. He's hungry as hell. Sanji and Frankie, though, at the time, they were paralyzed, boom, by St. J. Garcia Saturn. Even though Frankie can fire laser beams, he can't move at light speed, actually physically. Sanji, though, you could argue, However, again, he was paralyzed. Santomaru, what? Nah, Kizaru. Kizaru is the best option, where Kizaru, he used some of his strength at that point in time to teleport somewhere and get some food and then bring it to Luffy. Because Kizaru is, of course, that uncertain, that unclear justice. So it looks like Kizaru did a GARP during Marineford, where he gave Luffy a pass, or he gave Luffy an assist, because obviously he himself was conflicted about taking out Vegapunk or not, even though later on he does stab Vegapunk, though to be fair, he was already gonna die anyway, because beforehand, Saturn gores Vegapunk. So the idea ultimately is that Kizaru was conflicted during that entire engagement, and then he did assist Luffy at some point. Now, I thought this was a 2% chance of happening. Why? Number one, White Star gun. This man was laid out at that point in time. And to be fair, next time we do see him, he's still slumped over by some rubble. So you can easily argue that when he did get the food, he still wasn't back in tip-top condition. The second reason is more fundamental. It doesn't make any sense given how his powers work for speed. Because we've seen Kizaru in motion. Every time, or at least in the vast majority of cases, as far as I can recall, when Kizaru is moving, there's a what? There's a huge beacon of light, like a lighthouse just shining. It's not silent. It's not stealthy. Sanji can do that, yeah, because he can actually go invisible and no one can really track him because he's that fast. But Kizaru going invisible, like, huh? Wait, what? Since when? There are times where like weak folks, like weaklings, they can't perceive Kizaru's movements at all. And then so to them, he appears to be invisible in some way because they just can't perceive it. But all the cats in the area aren't weak. Luffy ain't weak, nor is Frankie, nor is Sanji, nor is Jay Garcia Saturn himself. What? Huh? Jay ain't weak? And he didn't catch this? This vroom beacon, vroom.
It's too bright. Could you tone it down a little, pal?
That's strange. That to me is extremely strange. I guess maybe Oda gave Kizaru a new way of implementing his light abilities to where he can be stealthy or silent. Or let's say, for example, He incorporated light with maybe some degree of 6-power martial arts movement, which made his light beam more stealthy and quiet? I don't know. This does mean that Kizaru, in some way, because he was conflicted, he wasn't probably going all out during that fight. And so I can see this helping out the Admiral agenda, where the Admiral agenda has needed some love for a while now. Okay? After a few good men, after soft fought against Fujitora, after Greenbow got shook by freaking not only did he say, Kaido, no way, but then Shanks, but unfortunately for the Admiral agenda fanboys and fangirls, it's too little too late. It's too little too late. This is a pretty good detail. You could argue, okay, at that point in time, you can't say that Luffy is stronger than Kizaru, even though Luffy did one-shot Kizaru. Ultimately, Kizaru could have had the stamina to get back up and take out Luffy when Luffy needed food. Though I remember a lot of the Admiral stands always conveniently left out that Luffy had to go through the Labo barrier stratum 2 times before he fought against Kizaru in Gear 5. So he's coming into that fight with lower HP anyway. But I digress. The biggest thing, I mean, it is what it is. That's round 1. That's round 1, man. I've already conceded this idea that Kizaru was conflicted and so he wasn't going all out. And I've said before jokingly that, yeah, we'll see him go all out in the future against Sanji. Bet. Like, by that time, Luffy and Kizaru, who gives a damn? Round 2 Luffy, nah, bro. When his belly was full and the moment to Gear 5, the entire island started to shake with the dun, 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 dun. Oh, you know. After he got turned into a pizza? Does Kizaru delivering the pizza offset Luffy turning him into a pizza? When round 2 happened, it was over. Because at that point in time, in terms of the power scale, it didn't matter if Kizaru was holding back or not. Because Luffy turned both him and Jay Garcia Saturn into pizza pockets. That's the problem, bro. Nah, if Kizaru's holding back, fine. Is Jay holding back? I sound like the Tasmanian devil, bro. This would have been great for an argument before round 2, but then, and Kizaru, okay, I'm sorry. There is no recovery. There is no recovery, not from pizza pockets, I'm sorry. And also, remember how it works in One Piece and the Young Bucks. Every island, what happens? These dudes get stronger. So this is Egghead Island Luffy, not Elbaf Luffy. Oof. Luffy is already stronger than his Egghead Island counterpart. This, for the Admiral agenda, is nice, but it changes nothing in the grand scheme of things, because unfortunately for you guys, Luffy's a freaking beast. Luffy is so much of a beast, even if Kizaru was holding back 2v1 against him and an elder, it's over. But as it should be, because he is the monkey massive, confirmed now via SBS, Nigga D Luffy. Man, come the end of Elbaf, will he even need Gear 5 be an Admiral? After all this Gear 4 stuff? Crazy potential. But that's it. Let me know your stance on the subject matter at hand. If you enjoy boys content, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and click on that bell to join the notification squad. Me and Frieza are gonna catch me and Frieza are gonna catch you guys and gals on the flip side.
See you. Bye-bye.
Monkey.